Hey ski moms, spring break is just around the corner. Are you dreaming of sunny beach days or snowy mountain adventures? Whether you're craving sand or snow, we've got you covered. That's why we're teaming up with Vrbo to help you find the perfect family-friendly getaway. Vrbo makes vacation planning easy with private rentals designed for families and friends, offering everything from oceanfront escapes to slope-side chalets. Here's why we love Vrbo. There's space to spread out. Ski and beach trips come with a lot of gear, and Vrbo offers spacious homes so everyone can relax comfortably. The perfect location, from stunning beachfront properties to ski in, ski out mountain retreats. And privacy. There's no shared spaces or awkward host encounters. And top-notch amenities. Think gourmet kitchens, game rooms, hot tubs, and fire pits. And peace of mind. Vrbo's Book with Confidence guarantee includes 24/7 support and rebooking assistance if plans change. Spring break will be here before you know it. Start planning now. Download the Vrbo app or visit Vrbo.com to find the perfect home for your trip. And be sure to follow us. We'll be sharing some of our favorite ski properties to inspire your next getaway. Let's make this spring break unforgettable. Welcome to Season 4 of the Ski Moms Podcast. We're your hosts, Nicole and Sarah.
We want to take a moment to remind you about the Ski Moms discount page on the skimoms.co website. We've collaborated with our favorite brands to bring you a ton of money-saving deals. For instance, we have a special link for Ski Butlers for 20% off your family's gear rentals. Ski Butlers delivers your rentals right to the living room of your condo or rental home or the lobby of your hotel, saving you hours of time. You'll never have to wait in a long rental store line at the base of the mountain again. When you use our links and codes, you not only save a bundle, you're also sending a message to the brands about the purchasing power of the Ski Moms. Head to www.theskimoms.co/discounts to take advantage of these special offers.
The Ski Moms are joined today by Charlotte Lilley. She's the founder of the Ski Retreat. Charlotte's turned her passion for skiing into a mission to empower women on the mountain. The Ski Retreat creates transformative ski experiences that bring women together for adventure, connection, and confidence on the slopes. Welcome, Charlotte.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, we love to hear a good origin story to kick things off. Tell us, where do you learn to ski, what age you were, and who taught you?
My dad taught me when I was 3, and I learned mostly at Kirkwood and Palisades, formerly known as Squaw, like when I grew up there. And it's so funny now when I see those little kids at that age, they're so cute in their little outfits. And I've seen some really funny pictures of when I was learning to ski. And I guess what I would do is I would put my arms straight out with my thumbs up and go down the hill. And I was like, okay, maybe that's an indicator of how much I love to ski. And plus, you don't have poles, so you have to do something.
So that was your home mountain growing up, was Palisades. And what was the other mountain you mentioned?
Kirkwood. It was mostly Kirkwood because I grew up in the California foothills in Jackson, California. Not to be confused with the other really cool Jackson.
Okay, so you're a recreational skier. Walk us through your career path to becoming the founder of Ski Retreat.
Yeah, it was kind of a circuitous route, but skiing has always been a constant in my life, other than the little blip when I was a snowboarder, because it was really cool to be a snowboarder from ages 12 to 15. But then I learned that I didn't love it after many a, fall without warning on my face. So I decided to go back to skiing. And yeah, I mean, back in the day, even in high school, when you're a senior in high school, I would take half days and I'd wear my ski clothes to school and go skiing from school up at Kirkwood. It was only like a 45-minute to an hour drive. So I'd pack up my Honda Civic full of my friends and gear and go for the second half of the day, which is fun. And in college, I didn't ski much. I went to Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo. So I was like too broke and it was too far. And I was enjoying being a beach person instead of a mountain person for a little while. After college, I moved to San Francisco and skiing was a little more accessible at that point, not only from a money perspective, but also Lake Tahoe was pretty accessible. And so that's when I really started getting back into skiing a lot. And that's when I started traveling for skiing. So I would travel around the US a lot. I went to Europe to ski, Canada. And so I really was excited and kind of reignited that passion. But from a work perspective, I was working in tech at the time in San Francisco, and I loved it. It was fast paced, it was exciting. I was meeting some lifelong friends, and it was, a really good time. And things really started to shift for me from like a what do I want to do with my life perspective when I started working at a company called Liftopia. I'm not sure if anyone remembers them, but they were kind of ahead of their time. They started dynamic pricing for skiing and ski lift tickets. So like if you're a consumer, you could buy like a lift ticket ahead of time and get a discount. And on the ski resort side, they would, price their tickets differently, whether it was a holiday or whatnot. But ironically, they were based in San Francisco. And so when I was at my first company, I kind of wanted to go to another company that was more aligned with my passions. And so I started working at Liftopia. And that was kind of when I started to reignite another passion for the outdoors, because I was in the ski industry, but I wasn't. And I got to see kind of what the flip side of the ski industry looked like, not just as someone who went there, but really like how the sausage is made behind the scenes. But at that time, I had a little more time at that job than I was used to. So I started kind of like dabbling with some entrepreneurial projects. One thing I did is I went to this thing called the Passion Company. It's no longer around, unfortunately, but the idea was you go and you find and identify a passion, and then you have 6 weeks to like work on it and launch it. And that sort of thing worked really well for me. At the time, I launched a travel blog because I love travel, but I don't love writing. So it didn't work out as well. I just kind of like it petered out. But that's also when I started to think a little bit more about, what it could be like to be an entrepreneur. And that's where I think it was pretty pivotal for me. I started learning about female entrepreneurs and like listening to podcasts, reading articles, discovering platforms like Create and Cultivate and the Riveter and things like that had these women on there who were talking about these businesses that they started. And I was like, oh, there's this whole ecosystem of these badass women. Like, I want to be one of them. There's a little tiny problem that I didn't really know what I wanted to do. That's kind of like where it all started.
So you were working at Liftopia. Was there an overlap between the ski retreat, or did you really have to jump and throw your whole self and take the economic risk of starting this startup?
That is a great point. So I was still working in startups, so I had moved on from Liftopia. But meanwhile, what I was doing was planning ski trips for my friends, with my girlfriends, for my guys and girlfriends. I would always plan them for my work. I'd do like an annual ski trip for every company I was at after that. And I did this because I love a ski trip. I love getting people together. I love going to the mountain and then enjoying, a well-deserved dinner afterwards. I love playing games all together. I love staying in the same cabin. So I just love that. And so I was doing this like consistently. It dawned on me a little bit where I was like, well, maybe I should do this for people that I don't know. And turn this into the business that I've been thinking about.
The company is called the Ski Retreat. I think your website is theskiretreat.co. And walk us through what it's all about, who it's appropriate for, when and where, what a retreat looks like.
Yeah, and going back a little bit, I ended up soft launching in 2017. So I launched it while I was still working a full-time corporate job. And, it was like a sign up page and like some postcards that I would pass out at ski movies. And then I started emailing friends and family and telling them what I was doing. And then I just put one on the calendar, right, in like January 2018. And then the first retreat was all friends and family. But interestingly, it was mostly friends and they didn't know each other. So it kind of did emulate the model of how it is today, because today, it's still people don't know each other and they come on these trips, which is really cool. So that first trip was really all I needed. The camaraderie that was created, the laughter, the connection, the fun. That was when I was like, this is great. I'm going to keep doing this. That was like a really special trip. And that's kind of like when I consider the ski retreat born in 2018. And, to your question, Nicole, moving forward 7 years, I actually just took the leap and left my corporate job 4 months ago to actually work on the ski retreat full time. And so It's been a little nerve-wracking, of course, for all the reasons, mostly money. But I actually finally feel like a real entrepreneur, from doing this as a side hustle on the side for the past 6 years. And now, blowing it out and doing a lot more with it the past 4 months has been really exciting.
Well, congratulations for taking the leap. I think it's really necessary to make it happen with growth. You really can't have your mind in two areas. And I will say, I've seen personally within our group of women on Facebook, we've got about 16,000 members now. They've really wanted to take the experience offline. And I will also say, having come off of 2 back-to-back events, it is a ton of work to plan and execute a trip. I mean, I think all the moms know this who are listening because they are doing them. But when you're trying to involve multiple families with multiple needs, woo boy. So tell us about what exactly you do when you're organizing these trips, and what are you going to do to make our lives easier and to take one thing off of our plate from the planning perspective.
Yeah, that's kind of what I try to offer up is you get there, and then once you're there, you don't have to think about anything. You can just enjoy. And the events are highly curated. They're quite full. I always say that they're not relaxing, but they're rejuvenating. So, you're gonna leave like, wow, that was really awesome and good for my soul. But we really do like to fit a lot in. And so, like, to your question, Sarah, what exactly happens during one of these retreats? Obviously, we ski and snowboard. That's our anchor. Most of the retreats follow a same model. They're kind of 4 days, 3 nights. And I get us an amazing cabin that's beautiful, spacious, has, what we need from a bedding perspective. And then I stock the fridge with, really healthy and delicious foods. We arrive Thursday night, we settle in, we do some housekeeping, we do usually a creative activity and then somewhat of an icebreaker, just so that the women can get to know each other a little bit. And then, next day we wake up Friday morning. The trips vary slightly based on where they are and kind of like the flavor of the destination. But in some cases, we get up and we have like a breakfast tailgate at the resort, beat traffic, get there. I bring the chef in for that. Then we ski and snowboard all day. And then typically we do a group dinner, which is really lovely. So I set up stations and we kind of just like have fun and make food together. And then we do an art class to, tap into the creative side of things. And then on Saturday, we typically do yoga, stretch out those ski and snowboard legs. And then we ski all day. And then that night, I typically bring in a female entrepreneur to speak to the group, also to tap into sort of the inspiring side or the passionate side. And then we have a beautiful curated chef's dinner that evening. And then Sunday morning, we wake up, we do a bit of a gratitude circle, a little bit of feedback circle, and then people are on their way. It's kind of choose your own adventure. Oftentimes people decide to ski, or if they have to travel, they travel. And then there's usually other things spiced up, in between. And I always say we have a lot of surprises up our puffer sleeves. That's kind of the essence of it. And everything's women-led. It's really, really important for me to support other women locally and just as a part of the retreat. So with the photographers, the chef, the yoga instructor, all of our partner brands, it's really, really important for me to support other women.
And what ability of skier would most of the trips be appropriate for?
It's all abilities. Each trip we have a kind of a mix. It's about 8 to 10 women per trip. And so the abilities vary. And a big part of this is, I always say nobody skis alone, and we've set up a bit of a buddy system. So there's skiers and snowboarders, and anyone's welcome to join.
One of the things that we hear frequently is that when you get to a certain age, or if you live in a certain area, you can't find ski mom friends to do things with you. How do you find those moms, and what do you offer them on your trips and your retreats? Hey, ski moms, we're deep into ski season, and we want to know how your gear is holding up. If your skis and boards are feeling sluggish, it's time for a tune-up. A fresh wax and edge sharpening can make all the difference, giving you smoother turns, better grip, and a way more fun experience on the mountain. With locations in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, Ski Haus is ready to keep your gear in great shape. Experts recommend tuning your gear every 10 to 15 days on snow, or sooner if you've been battling the icy slopes. Here's a tip. If your bases look dry, white, or fuzzy, it's time for a wax. Lucky for you, Ski Haus has the pros to get your skis and boards back in peak shape. Drop them off on Sunday, and they'll be ready for Friday pickup at any of Ski Haus's 3 locations. Treat your gear right, and it'll treat you to the best ski days yet. Pick from 3 locations, Woburn and Framingham in Massachusetts, and shop tax-free in Salem, New Hampshire. Check them out at skihaus.com. That's skihaus.com to find your nearest store.
The moms are, people find me, I think, by the way that this is curated, right? So it's a lovely weekend that's curated where moms don't really have to worry about, they don't have to worry about anything once they arrive. And I think that's a nice appeal to moms. And one of the biggest things that I hear from moms is, I don't have time, which totally makes sense, right? And so that's one of the things where they say, if I can just carve out, these few days and make it fit with my schedule, then I can make this trip happen. And I think, overcoming the mom guilt, of course, it's very common to have that. But, what I typically hear is like, if I do this for me, I'll be a better mom and I'll be a better wife. And so, it's always like a proud moment, I think, for them when they're booking the trips, and a proud moment for me because it's, seeing someone who's actually committing to themselves.
And do you offer lessons or guides? Are you going to get, obviously, more turns equals improvement and growth in your skiing, but is this also a learning experience?
It can be. What I like to say is this is an empowering trip. So you make it what you want it to be. So if you haven't been out in a while and you want to get back into skiing, then definitely take lessons. I'm not a ski instructor yet. That's coming. And so I definitely encourage people to take lessons. And, if they don't want to, that's fine too. If they want to up-level their abilities and work on going from a blue to a black, excellent. If they want to just cruise the groomers because usually they're getting pressured to do other things, great. And so for me, it's kind of, especially from the skiing perspective, kind of whatever makes you feel empowered and confident, and whatever you want to work on is what we want you to do for the retreat.
And for this coming season, where will you be hosting the retreats?
This season, we have 3 different destinations. We're in Lake Tahoe, California, and we have 3 there. And then we have 1 in Breckenridge, Colorado, and 1 in Sun Valley, Idaho. And I obviously live in Lake Tahoe, so that's easy and fun for me. And people have kind of a local guide. I lived in Denver for a year, and so that's where Breckenridge came about a few years ago. And then my dad lives in Sun Valley, Idaho, and so I've been going there for over 20 years and planning tons of girlfriends trips there. And so it was a natural addition to the ski retreat this year.
I think that insider angle is very important when we're traveling. And I think that's a really interesting part of what you're offering, is that you are that girlfriend in the know who knows the cool restaurants, who knows the fun little spots. Do you plan on expanding, or is that going to require you to spend, a lot of time doing research before you pick more destinations?
A little bit of both. I love the excuse to travel to a new destination, but it is important for me to feel comfortable before hosting at one of these places. And to your point about kind of the towns and the activities, like one of the retreats in Lake Tahoe is over something called the Lake Tahoe Snowfest. And I planned it over that on purpose so that people could take part in the activities and really get a feel for the flavor of the town. And similarly for Sun Valley, we're doing it over the Stiefel World Cup finals. And so that'll be a really interesting and exciting opportunity for people to take part in that. And not to mention, like, accommodation is impossible at this point. So, just trying to plan it where something might be going on to where people can actually get a feel and taste of the town, and then of course on the skiing side, the mountain. And so hopefully we will be expanding. I would love to do a European trip. I'd love to consider Japan. I'd love to consider South America in summertime. And then of course more, in the US.
So you're on all of these trips, kind of the leader and the boots on the ground as well. So as you expand, I'm sure you'll have to think about how to duplicate yourself. Is that a challenge that you've been thinking about?
It's a huge challenge. And actually this year I'm trying the first time ever having a different host. And this host is actually someone who's been on multiple trips, and she's just really passionate about what we're doing. And so she said, I'd be willing to host one. And I was like, great, open your calendar. So, I love trying things. I think maybe working in startups in the past has kind of given me a mindset around like, just try things, right? Try them. If it doesn't work out, it's not that big of a deal. But you'll learn and you'll grow. And so for me, I was like, yeah, let's do this. We'll see how it goes. I have a little bit of FOMO about it. I'm just going to let it happen and it's going to go great. I know it.
Yeah, it's two different things entirely. If you do want to scale the business and add on a ton of different destinations, you're going to have to let go at some point of being the face, and to make it more of a brand that's not about Charlotte, it's about the retreat. But I think that's definitely possible. And there's definitely women who know a ton and who make great hostesses who probably don't want to run the business aspect of it. So it's just tapping into that. And maybe there's some moms out there who want to be your hosts.
I would love that. Yeah. And my goal is to create a really succinct kind of host kit so that people know exactly kind of like what we do. And we definitely have a certain flavor to the ski retreat that I want to make sure is consistent. But otherwise, whatever they bring to the table from their personality, their background, their experience is going to make it even more special.
And you always do it at houses, or do you sometimes do a hotel or a resort setting?
Currently, always at houses. For me, that's kind of a part of the special sauce is everyone coming back to the same house and making dinner together and getting to know each other, because a huge part of this is the connection with other women. Like I said before, people usually reach out and say, I don't have other girlfriends to ski with, or I'm sick of skiing alone. Or I ski with my kids, but they're starting to out ski me. And so now I'm looking for some girlfriends. And so that is, the connection side of it is amazing. And women, from these retreats will become friends and then do their own trips. And so that's really the magic sauce, is when that happens. And, I get to see that. And so for me, it's like, this is definitely why I do this. So yeah, the house is really important. And, it also allows for those like the downtime. And once you've kind of gotten past the surface level conversations on night one, that's when you start to get into the really meaningful conversations and people open up. It's not uncommon that there's tears, not in like a downer sort of a way, but in like a lovely, vulnerable sort of a way. And, there's like learnings of what, podcasts and books and brands and things that people are sharing with each other. And so it's just kind of just inspiring. So for me, the house is really important, but you can see in the future scaling, to have larger events and potentially having, going to hotels or ski in, ski out hotels and things like that, especially if we end up doing things like corporate retreats and whatnot.
Yeah, I could see the difference between people all going back to their own hotel rooms and maybe, making phone calls or getting on their iPad and kind of like, not taking advantage of the connection that they could be making if they were out in the living room, sitting on the couch with a glass of wine or a cup of tea. So, one of the words you used in the very beginning, icebreaker, I think it can be is scary for some people. I mean, at least when we use it in the corporate, context, a lot of people start sweating. What would give us an example of what would be one of your icebreakers in the beginning of these events?
Well, I like to cut deep, right? And I think that's what the women of the retreats are looking for the most part, when they come on something like this. And so it's a bit of a spoiler, but one of the exercises I like to do is you actually sit and you do a visualization, and I walk you through kind of a scenario that's happening. And you don't realize it until the end, but I let you know that it's your funeral and your friends and family are there. And so you kind of write down what you hope they would say at your funeral. And then you share it with someone next to you. So it really is like, okay, we're going to go there, but I think if we only have a couple days together and, we want to make those connections, you kind of need to get real. And so that's, an example of an icebreaker. It's not like a trust fall or like what's your favorite color?
My gosh, we played bingo as our icebreaker. So I think you're getting a little bit deeper, which is good. And I think women are hungering for connection because we spend so much time of our life online or shuttling the kids. And I like it that you're going deep. But one thing I do want to know is, do I have to share a room with somebody or do I get my own room?
That is your choice. So every house I choose has the option for private versus shared. You don't share beds. I've definitely been on trips where that's an option. So I'm going to keep those boundaries, but it is shared rooms or private rooms. And that's one element, the house is one of the hardest things for me to find, actually. So when I find a good one, I stick with it because I want, certain elements of it. But yep, totally up to you if you want your privacy or if you're fine with sharing.
And then getting back and forth to the mountain, do you drive everyone and shuttle them, or are they driving? Do you need a rental car? How does that work?
A combination. Some destinations actually have a shuttle if we're close enough to the mountain. And other times, mostly we just carpool with each other. So we just all pile into each other's cars and head out.
And I did notice on your site, you have a locals packet. How do the locals integrate with the weekend?
That was something that I launched a couple of years ago because it's important for me to be a part of the local community. And what I realized was like, most people fly in for these events or drive in from like a further distance. And so even my friends locally would say, oh, that sounds so fun. I wish I could do it. And I was like, you know what, you can. And so I launched this locals pass, which is a way for people to participate in the activities and the skiing. If they have a place, to stay. And so obviously a local doesn't need to stay at the house. So it's not the same in terms of like a lot of the, downtime at the house, but they get to participate in the activities that happen at the house and elsewhere. I think it's a really nice option, and it's for people who live in the area or who have a second home in the area or even have a ski lease in the area.
Well, I know how much time goes into event planning. And as you do try to expand, how are you separating your time, sort of the marketing and research portion of it, and then the actual execution? How are you making sure you get out there skiing and doing the work to find the next great location for a retreat?
That is a hard balance. And that's kind of being this full-time entrepreneur now, is like you wear all the hats. And so my days look very different day to day in terms of, okay, social media and then marketing and trying to fill the seats and then reaching out to partners and just the website and things, everything that goes into it, which I'm kind of loving. I love doing multiple things and staying busy. And I do get out to ski, believe it or not. Luckily, I think it's because I have easy proximity to the mountain. It's 20 minutes for me to go to the mountain. So I love getting out for some lunch laps in the middle of the day. And the newest thing I discovered is cross-country skate skiing and classic skiing. And so I have a cross-country center right next to my house, and that is really fun. I know this is like not new news to some people who have been doing this for years, but for me, this is a nice, new, fun thing to do to get out without kind of the hassle of the ski resort. Bring your dogs, things like that.
So do you have anyone working with you, or are you really wearing all of the hats?
I'm wearing all of the hats. I have, Canva has become my best friend from a design perspective. I've been learning a lot, in terms of Squarespace, which is what my website is on. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this. I wanted to learn, all of these different things. And that to me is part of the fun of creating it. It definitely can be a lot at times, but it's been a fun journey, I will say, so far.
Yeah. And my advice is just, it sounds like you're doing it, is keeping your feet in the snow is a really important part. I mean, when I tend to start looking out the window wistfully that I'm spending too much time at my laptop or creating reels, then I know that balance has not been achieved, and I am not tapping into the joy of why I started all this to begin with. So it's really important. I'm really glad to hear that that's part of your life. Is Palisades your home mountain?
It is. Yep. I have I have the Icon Pass, and Palisades is 25 minutes from my house. And then this year I also decided to get a smaller mountain, Diamond Peak. So I have a pass for there too. I realized one day I woke up on a Saturday and got to the mountain at 10 a.m. and got right on the mountain. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm buying a pass. That doesn't happen at Palisades as much.
And Diamond Peak is still California. I was just in Reno and I was so interested. It's so interesting that Nevada is, half the lake and California is the other half. So is Diamond Peak Nevada or California?
It's on the Nevada side, actually.
And that's North Lake Tahoe or South Lake Tahoe?
That's in North Lake Tahoe.
And it's still independently owned?
It's owned by the city of Incline Village, interestingly enough.
So Diamond Peak is one of those places that's probably more locals than out of people flying in, destination travelers.
Yeah. However, it's really family friendly. And so it's a great destination for families who want to be on the lakeside. There's some great ski resorts in Tahoe, like Sugar Bowl and things that are very family friendly. And this one's more on the lakeside and a great family friendly option. And so we do get travelers with families that come there. But otherwise it's pretty much locals. Even the town, if you live in Incline, you get either the pass for free or a very big discount. I don't live there, so I don't know, but that's kind of a nice little perk.
I was just rushing through JFK Airport on my way to ski in Utah, and boy, was I glad to have my Diamant boot bag. The airport was an absolute chaos as skiers and travelers navigated the long lines to head off on their winter holidays. Thankfully, I had the ultimate boot bag to make my life easier. The Diamant Weekend Warrior bag is a backpack-style bag that stores my boots and helmet and counts as a carry-on. It's TSA approved, so getting it through security is a breeze. The bag has a spot for everything. I had a full ski outfit packed, as well as space for my laptop, chargers, and toiletries. When I got on board, I slipped the bag into the overhead compartment. I settled in to watch a movie, knowing that when I arrived to Salt Lake City, I didn't have to worry about losing my essential ski gear. And there's even a version with wheels. The Diamant XL is a carry-on boot bag that has winterized wheels for a smooth ride on any terrain. As always, Diamant bags are designed by skiers for skiers, with a water-resistant and ventilated boot compartment that keeps my ski boots dry and fresh. Head to DiamantSkiing.com to get yours. And don't forget, Ski Mom saved 20% off the lowest price on Diamant ski bags for your whole family. Just use code SKIMOMS at checkout. Trust me, this bag will change how you travel. And if families are coming in to do a destination trip to Tahoe and they maybe want to ski a few different mountains, are there areas that are, I know like when you go to Colorado, staying in Frisco is the real value play, or some people stay in Silverthorne. So you can get a house because it's not ski in, ski out. You get a house at 30 to 40% as if you were trying to stay right in Vail. Is there a town in that area that is the same sort of thing?
There are. So Truckee has a couple of family-friendly resorts nearby, like I mentioned, Sugar Bowl and Donner Ski Ranch. And so that's a great destination for people who want to come with families with a resort that's not as busy, is the right word. And so that's, I think, probably one of the best options. We had Homewood here, but they're closed this year. They've gone through a little bit of a moment with being taken private and then closing, and apparently it's going to be public, so we don't really know, but that is such a great family friendly resort, and so we do hope that it opens back up next season. So yeah, there's definitely a few great options around here.
And going back to the ski retreat itself, I saw that you do some one-day events as well. I guess that would be more for locals, or maybe if there was a family in the area and a mom wanted to attend an event. What are some of those like?
Those are, meant to be kind of, as you described, for people who can't really commit to the whole weekend. So I think it's great for moms if you still want to have a taste of, skiing with the ladies and maybe one of the activities. So you have the option to join for, like yoga and skiing if you'd like. Or if you are really interested in the speaker, you can ski with us and then come join for the speaker. We're also doing a free community shred day with another local group called She Shreds. And so that's just like a fun day where we want to get people onto the mountain. And so it's events like that we want to do and to open it up to more people who might not be able to commit to a full weekend.
I love all the flexibility that you're building into the planning. That's really important, especially as we're all trying to find balance with our outdoor lives and our work lives. When you're looking for entrepreneurs, what type of people are you looking for? Obviously, they need to be female. Are you looking for somebody who's got a huge business, or is this something that that's just incubated and it is a startup? Is there a certain flavor that is a great match for the ski retreat?
Not especially. I think I'm open. We've had a lot of different entrepreneurs come speak. For example, we have Jen Gurecki from Coalition Snow. She's an amazing, ski brand owner, local here. We've had a woman who owns a company called Strange Bikinis. We've had a woman who owns a nutrition coaching company. So it's across the board. And really what I'm looking for is people who have a story to share. The theme of the talks is the more you follow, the more you learn, which was a saying when I was growing up that my parents and everyone would tell me skiing, the more you follow, the more you learn. So you fall and then they say, what did you learn? And that relates to skiing and business. And so that's why that's sort of the theme for those fireside chats is, talk us through your journey. What were your failures? What were your successes? And how did you get to where you are today?
And then let's talk a little bit about après ski. What does it look like for these retreats? What would we expect for the après ski scene?
So again, based on destination, but usually we meet at the end of the mountain at the base, at the lodge. One fun spot here in Tahoe is called the Chamois, or the Chamois for short. And there's a really lovely spot called Wildflower that makes the most epic cookies that I've ever had. And so I'll go grab a bunch of cookies while everyone else kind of hangs out. I love kind of the après vibe. It's one of the things that, I'm like, I deserve this. But my favorite vibe is, a place where there's a lot of people, there's dogs, there's drinks, non-alcoholic, alcoholic, whatever you want. Hot cookies is always the best option. So we usually end, because some people like to end a little sooner than others. So that's where we meet up. And then, it continues at the house. So we go home. Usually the house has a hot tub. And so we'll kind of wind down. I'll get out some nice snacks. And then, we wind down into kind of the next activity that we're doing that evening, whether it's the chef dinner or the art class or the speaker. So we keep it going after the slopes.
The whole thing, everything you're doing sounds amazing. And I think what keeps coming to my mind as you're talking about all this is the fact that we as moms attending these retreats, we don't have to make any decisions. We don't have to really do anything, but you just tell us where we should be and what we should be wearing. And we're eating and having fun and making friends. And it just sounds amazing. Like I really we need to look at this, Nicole. It looks like so much fun.
You should come. Would be great.
And I would love to have somebody else plan. When you do get the occasion that you're skiing with friends and you get to run your own après, what does that look like?
Honestly, it's not much different. I always say with the ski retreat, I'm like, really? I just planned my perfect weekend and hopefully everyone else also enjoys it. I mean, you might see that it's kind of all over the place, right? It's like art, a speaker, we ski, yoga. And I love that, and I think women are dynamic. We have a lot of different interests. You can't put us into a box. And that's, why I try and have the ski retreat reflect that. And, our slogan is adventures in nature for women who can't sit still. And I think that's me to a T. And I'm like, well, if I enjoy this, I think other people enjoy it. And so even when I plan my girlfriend trips, it doesn't look so different. We're pretty much scheduled, and people tend to really like it. We do relax a little bit though, so don't worry.
Are you more of like a wine girl, or do you like to go for an NA beer, or do you mix a cocktail or mocktail? Do you have a signature drink that's like so Charlotte?
I don't discriminate on my beverages, even to the non-alcoholic side of things. But if I had to pick something, it's probably a hot toddy. Like that is synonymous to me with skiing and having a nice warm beverage.
I completely agree. Though I would like to make a shout out. I was in Palisades, Tahoe. I don't remember where I was, but I had these phony Negronis, and they're fantastic. And it's spelled like Phony. I had a little bit of a head cold when I was skiing, so I didn't really want to have anything with alcohol in it. And it was fantastic. So whoever makes phony Negronis, I would like to thank you. I felt like I was not missing out on being part of the group, but I wasn't sure that alcohol was the thing for me. So I'm really excited to see all these alternatives coming up there. And I just found out, Sarah, here at Sugarbush, they're now carrying Toast, the non-alcoholic. It's an alternative to wine. And that was so exciting too. I'd like that, hey, I love a good Moscow Mule. I love a good hot toddy, but sometimes I don't. I'm guessing with your retreats that you have lots of options for people who don't want alcohol in their evenings.
We do actually. And that's a question that comes up, right? Some people, mostly it's the question on the, hey, I'm not a big partier. What's the vibe? It's not like, hey, are we going to party? There is alcohol available. We have wine with dinner. You can have a cocktail after in the hot tub, choose your own adventure again. But it's important to me that everyone feels welcome. And it isn't necessarily a party vibe, at all. This year, I did make it more of a priority to have more non-alcoholic options. And to that, we actually brought on 2 different partners who are providing the drinks. One of them is spiritless, non-alcoholic spirits. So they'll be doing, get this, they have a non-alcoholic espresso martini. And I was like, that is so après. I'm so excited for that. And then they have a few pour overs. And then the other one is joyous wine, and they're non-alcoholic sparkling. So I thought that could be very fun. Sparkling is always fun. We have those options they're actually being provided by partners, which is great. So I'm actually pretty excited about that.
Awesome. And I love that you're constantly looking for new partners, and we encourage people to reach out to Charlotte. We'll put your information in the show notes. Anything else that you wanted to send us off with before we say goodbye?
I hope everyone has an amazing season, and I hope that everyone joins us as well, taking time out for ourselves as moms and just enjoying what we have to offer in the snow and in the winter, and making, bright spots in the winter and making some new friends. So thank you so much for having me.
Hey, Ski Moms, it's time to elevate your après game with the new Ski Moms Après Ski Cocktail Book. Packed with delicious recipes, this book has everything you need to mix up cozy winter cocktails and refreshing sips for celebrating after a day on the slopes. From warm spice classics to creative new favorites, there's something for every ski mom. And even a few mocktails. Grab your copy now and bring a little extra magic to your next après ski gathering. You can get your copy at theskimoms.co or on Amazon. Cheers to good times and great snow.
Hey, Ski Moms, we hope you enjoyed today's episode and got some great tips for your next family ski adventure. If you had as much fun listening as we did making this episode, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on our latest episodes. And don't forget to rate and review us. Your feedback helps us bring you more of the content you love and helps other ski moms find our podcast. Plus, we love hearing from you. So whether you're on the slopes or just dreaming of your next snowy getaway, stay connected with us. Follow us on social media, share your favorite episodes with your friends, and let's keep this awesome community growing.
Hey, Ski Moms! We're thrilled to be partnering with Ulster County this year to bring you 4 seasons of family travel inspiration. Nestled in the stunning Hudson Valley of New York State, Ulster County is your go-to destination for outdoor adventure all year long. And when it comes to planning your winter getaway, this spot truly delivers. Let's talk about Bel Air Mountain, a ski resort that has thought of everything, from their expanded base lodge and standalone equipment rental center to the beginner-friendly area on top of the mountain. Yep, you heard that right. Bel Air makes hitting the slopes a breeze for newbies and seasoned pros alike. Looking for thrills? This is home to the only gondola in the Catskills and the longest vertical drop in the region. Oh, and if Mother Nature isn't cooperating, no worries. 96% of the terrain is covered by top-notch snowmaking. Looking for even more winter fun? Rocking Horse Ranch has you covered. Picture this, a beginner ski hill, snow tubing, ice skating, and a winter fun park all in one spot. And if you're feeling adventurous, how about a horseback trail ride through the snowy landscapes? It's like a winter wonderland on horseback. Get all the details and start planning your Ulster County adventure at visitulstercountyny.com. That's visit ULSTER County NY.com.